Hello, Playdate. This is Don.
This is Nick.
And this is Ryan.
This week we are covering Playdate news,
recent indie releases,
and giving you your episodic dose of boops with our relatively new segment, Pixel Panel.
Thank you for listening. Let's get started with some news and notes.
Sorry, I thought that part needed some air horns. Hold on, I'm not doing my job. Boopity boop boop boop. News and notes.
Oh, they're going to drop the boops for an air horn mouth noise or something.
Tried something out at the beginning there. I wasn't sure it worked.
Well, not possibly. Easily the biggest Playdate news week since the Playdate Awards.
Boo, boo, boo.
This was, I guess it was Playdate Update, just the Playdate March update. But they dropped some big bombs on us. We got the catalog, not only details details given, but the catalog is out.
Nice. They promised beginning of Q1 2023. That's happening. This.
We're in the Q1.
It happened. Good job. Panic, Playdate, catalog. Good job. All of those things and people that made that happen.
Many promises fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
So they got right to it. It's a very good video, by the way. It's fairly short. It's like 15 minutes long, maybe, with lots of news, not just catalog news, but you can see a lot about catalog and a lot of the games we're about to discuss in the catalog if you watch the YouTube video. So there will be a link in the show notes to the Playdate update video. But some games that we've been waiting for a long time are part of the catalog, which you update your Playdate, which I'm guessing it would have pushed the update by now if you didn't manually do it. But you can manually update your Playdate in the game section, not in the system update section, but in the game section. You look for a new game and it'll push the catalog. And it'll also show up in your menu now. When you push the home button, it'll show up as a setting there. So pretty easy to find. And then when you open it up, it shows like a little storefront, like a little eShop or whatever. With right now there's 16 games there. So did you guys get a chance to poke around and check it out?
I just used the web version. I haven't done anything on the device yet. But the web version's really easy to use, and I was able to purchase some stuff the day they released catalog, and it was on my device when I was ready to interact with it. So that was pretty cool. Seamless.
Yeah,
nice.
I did it through the device itself. The little teal light was screaming at me for a couple days until I, poked it, and then it just did what it was supposed to. It was real easy. Did a quick system update, and now I can catalog away. It was really, really seamless. How about you, Don?
Well, I was going to ask Nick, when you did it on the desktop, did it have you set up your credit card information just right there when you went to hit the buy button?
Yeah, I figured that was going to be easiest since, they needed the credit card information anyway. Might as well just do it online instead of doing it on the device. But I figured I'd interact with it on the device at some point in the future, but didn't really need to do it right up front.
Cool. I kind of did a hybrid. I interacted on the device, but the device brings up a QR code when you go to check out.
Okay.
And so then I was like, I'll just do it on the site. So I had my credit card there anyway. You also have the option to add a PIN number if you want an extra level of security there, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it is nice. You can just buy the games right on the site, and then kind of like when you sideload them on itch or whatever, they push to your device.
Mm-hmm.
Very slick. So, well, maybe we should start with what games you guys picked up, and then talk a little bit about what else is on there.
Should we talk a little bit about the difference between catalog and itch and any other storefront that might exist?
Sure.
As well. So catalog is a curated group of applications. It might be games, might be apps, might be whatever, for the Playdate that is hosted by Panic. So it's got on-device access, so you can browse through the entire storefront on the Playdate itself, and then purchase stuff, and then immediately start using it, as opposed to other third-party storefronts, be it itch.io or something else. Any person can set up a storefront to sell Playdate apps, and then they're all sideloaded through the Playdate website's sideload interface. Those then show up on your Playdate, but there's that intentional break between purchase or download on the third-party store and then playing on the Playdate, and Catalog removes that. So if your app makes it to Catalog, it is much easier to interact with it, especially for those who are reluctant to learn about sideloading or use sideloading.
I feel like you're referring to someone.
I am.
Really, it's a lot of people. Yeah.
It is, and that's my point. So I've heard a lot of news stories recently, especially podcasts and so forth, where the hosts were lamenting the fact that the Playdate was this thing that seemed cool, but there wasn't much for it, because I guess they interacted with some of the season games and then stopped messing with it, which is kind of wild to me. Because there's this whole universe of these awesome third-party indie games, which we've been talking about. So it's cool that there's this direct link to these games, and especially, kind of the highlights that Panic has handpicked for Catalog, because hopefully that'll encourage adoption and interaction, and maybe even cause some people to explore outside of their comfort zone and start looking at sideloading as well through third-party app stores and the like.
I think I saw some devs mentioning that they saw a boost in traffic on itch the day after Catalog was announced.
Huh. So
it's definitely jumping up interest. Maybe that's just people picking up their Playdate and messing around with it too.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I was about to ask Nick, how do you suppose that the implementation of Catalog is going to boost itch sales? It seems like, if anything, it might do the opposite. Like, oh, here's this easy on-device store, and I no longer have to make an additional step to sideload the game onto my device.
So there is one extra step, and that is that you have to load that credit card information in on the Playdate site. So while you're in there, it's an opportunity to see that, oh, there's this sideload link. It just depends on the person and their willingness to explore and read. But
pesky words.
Not singling anybody out in particular, Ryan. But yeah, it has the potential to be a big boon for the platform in general. And I think it's a big step towards broader acceptance of the Playdate outside of those season games. So,
yeah, well said, Nick. I feel like that was a one-way conversation between you and me. Thank you very much.
It's interesting, on the sideload page, it kind of like is a catalog of games that I've sideloaded, but now the catalog games that I own are not included in that sideload page.
Yeah,
they're not really included anywhere as far as I can tell.
They are in the download list section on the device. So
yeah, they're on the device, but they're also on the orders page on the website. I'm just looking at the website.
Okay.
Which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
But also shocking. I didn't realize it shows you how much you paid. And Ryan's swinging at the camera. Uh-oh.
Gesticulating wildly.
I was doing my best to mute there. My son is, doing a booty dance and trying to do I'm not sure what right now. This is bedtime. Come on.
Oh Lord.
There was door slamming and everything. I thought for sure you guys heard all that. Anyway, back to the show.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick, for the for going over catalog. And I guess now might be the best time to mention the Typeform thing. There is a submission process. Like Nick said, it is curated. And so they just want special things, special games and apps that kind of they handpick and they want to highlight on the store. So there are good things that will not be in the catalog, but they are picking certain things that they do want to highlight there. So there is a submission process, and you're welcome to submit your works there. There's I clicked through it like I was going to submit something, and they really talk you through, is your product a good fit for us? This is what we're really looking for. These are other options you have before the catalog if you are interested in putting it on Shopify or Itch.
So what were
You have other options.
what were the attributes of games that they were looking for? What did they specify before you went through the trouble of designing something? What did they say?
So this is after you've designed something, and
Yes.
when you're ready for it to be featured on their store, you're prepping the submission. So they're walking you through kind of the final marketing pieces. So what makes this the best application of its type for the Playdate? That's kind of what they're looking for. So you have to justify the existence of your app, which makes perfect sense. Like if you don't think it's fantastic, then why would anybody else think it's fantastic? So they kind of talk you through it, and it's like a beginner's game marketing tool, which is really cool.
But were they specifying things like it's got to be all ages, or it needs to have some sort of gaming aspect to it, or it has to use the crank, or
no? Let me go over some of the things. There's not a whole lot, but let me go over some of them.
Read
one
me
of
those
them,
pesky words.
your title should feel finished and polished, giving the customer something they'll be happy they bought. So it specifically calls out small games or test games will be less likely to be included, unless, of course, they do something special or unique. Your title should be one of the best in your genre. That's something Nick kind of hit on. We're looking for things that really, truly shine. So should be really the top of the genre. It's okay if your title is not a game. Apps and utilities, books, or whatever, welcome to apply. Your title shouldn't be hateful or offensive. And then they go through what that means. We may pass on your title for any reason, even if they meet the requirements above. But don't worry, if we do pass, you can still sell your Playdate game in many other ways. And they go through how you do that. I didn't see anything on here that said you have to use the crank. It has to apply. It has to appeal to all ages. I don't think I saw anything like that. I didn't see anything about a ratings board, Nick, unless you need to correct me. No. I don't think I saw anything like that. The terms are a little bit different. They are not as flexible as something like Itch. You keep 75% of the sales revenue, and then they also subtract Stripe card fees. So they say typically 2.9% plus a 30-cent transaction fee. So something like, what is it? A joke that only costs $1, something like that. So that would automatically be, they would keep 25 cents off of that plus 30 cents plus roughly 3 cents. So you're down to what, 43 cents or something. I'm not good at math. But anyway, so that's one of the reasons why you might go to Itch, where Itch lets you move that slider all the way to 0, I think. Right? Now, credit card fees, there's nothing you can do about it. You still have to pay credit card fees on Itch. But this is a little bit different. However, they handle the distribution, credit card processing, fraud prevention, returns, builds, and hosts. You handle support, bug fixes, and updates. And
this is catalog you're talking about.
This is catalog, yes. Yeah. They also, in bold print, it's not exclusive. You can also distribute your title anywhere else, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Wow.
So it's not trapped on catalog. It's not exclusive to catalog, which is really cool.
That's incredible, actually.
Yeah.
Thinking about that from a publishing standpoint, which is, where I come from, typically there's exclusivity clauses for at least a specific amount of time. Like maybe they'd keep it for 9 months or a year or something before you can take it somewhere else. I can't believe that even at launch, they allow you to take it elsewhere too.
Yep.
That's really interesting. I'm continually surprised at how open Panic is to new devs, to giving them freedom, to allowing anybody onto the platform. And now again, in this catalog description that you're so kindly reading to me, Don, thank you. Again, with allowing people to take their games anywhere, even once they're on. That's amazing.
Yeah, they seem just really flexible. And I saw somewhere specifically a lot of the prices end in 0 to like $8, $4, $2. And they mentioned this is like our one shot to try this. So let's try it at $8. Let's try it at $4, not $5.99 or $2.99, which I thought was interesting. But they're just kind of rethinking how they wanted to launch the store. And Panic was in a position at one point where they could have ended up as iTunes, if my understanding is correct. The way that they were forming Mac Software.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have all the history here, but they were sort of in the running for something like that years and years ago. I don't know. We'd have to dig in deeper for that, but I saw that come up in the discussion as well. Well, Panic, they were in the running years ago, so they've been dealing with this type of thought process for a long time,
mm-hmm.
launching a virtual store. So
interesting.
So far, it feels good. I don't know, and it's very cute. You can when you're buying something, you can turn the crank and like crank it tighter and tighter and tighter to make a purchase. Nick, that's one thing that the desktop is lacking, unless you can click your mouse tighter and tighter and tighter. Or something.
I was cranking the mouse actually.
Okay. Or you can just hit A. You don't have to use the crank, by the way. Should we talk about some of the games that are out there?
Let's do it.
All right. So, Ryan, do you want to talk about your most anticipated game of all time?
So the spiritual follow-up to Whitewater Wipeout is Carved, and it's a snowboarding game. Looks like it's going to be graphically enhanced, even past the gigantic wave that we were so enamored with when it came out on week 1.
Not Carved Junior.
Carved Junior. Oh, okay. Thank you. And I have not played it yet because I have about enough time to play our Pixel Panel game between episodes and not a lot else. So I am anxiously awaiting to play Carved Junior.
Carved Junior. Yeah, Ryan had the week from hell. Just happened to be when
I wasn't going to bring that up. This is a safe space.
We won't go too deep. Yeah,
this is a place of escapism.
Nick,
full
every
of
week
boobs.
is busy. Yeah. Nick, did you have is your most anticipated game of all time in this list as well?
I've made a purchase and I downloaded. There were 2 free games, which sort of, depending on how you look at it, extend the season kind of season 1 on the Playdate. But I also picked up Grand Tour.
Okay.
Which I love to commute with the bike. So, and I haven't been able to do that for a little while because of working 100 million hours a day. So, this is the closest connection I will have to biking for a little while. And so I was enamored with that when I saw the graphics. Look cool.
Oh my gosh, the video for that game just had me so tickled. The animation of the guy's butt flopping up and down as he's riding the bicycle, so perfect.
Yep.
I'm forgetting who it was. Someone in our Discord ended up selling me on Grand Tour Legends. I was thinking you had to like sit there and crank over and over to ride your bike, and that was a hard pass for me. But he said no, you have to like. You have to strategize when not to pedal.
Yeah.
You gotta rest and use your stamina. So then that sold me on it. So I did play that one a little bit.
What'd you think, Don?
Yeah, it's fun. I need to figure out how to view uphill and downhill a little easier. It's hard for me to tell when I'm going uphill and downhill. So maybe there's a tell that I'm missing. So I do not have the stellar lap results that some of the guys on the Discord have. And I need to add a channel. They're just throwing their high scores wherever. We need to get a channel on there.
High score beat down.
Yeah. Oh, and I did want to mention, so like I'm looking at the Grand Tour Legends screen right now, and there's a bunch of links at the bottom to their Twitter, their Instagram, etc. When you submit a game and it's accepted to catalog, you can add whatever links you want for tech support or gaming manual or whatever to this page. So you own your little page on here in the catalog.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Itch, but hosted by Panic.
Yeah. I wanted to mention Direct Drive is out, a game that we've talked about a little bit, and we've been really watching.
Super excited for this one.
It's a silent movie musical game about being an intern in the music industry in the 1920s. So It's right after Nick's Own Heart. So you're basically judging the speed of the vinyl record while people are recording, so you get a good recording. I've only played a little bit of it, haven't played a whole lot yet, unfortunately. But very, very polished, very cool.
So are you
Art is
recording
amazing.
at 78 RPMs all the time?
I guess, I don't know.
That's a lot of fast cranking.
I haven't put a speedometer on my arm, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Skew is another one I was really looking forward to. It's sort of like a flying auto runner. You're trying to go up a hallway, down a hallway, and not hit stuff. And everybody's been chasing high scores on that one all over Twitter and on our Discord. That one's been a lot of fun. And then there are several games. I mean, there's more games on here, but there are several games that we did see on Itch previously, like Tapeworm Disco Puzzle, Down the Oubliette,
Bloom Island.
Mm-hmm.
Joke worth 99 cents.
Yep.
And there was a huge update to Bloom as well, and they pushed it same day to people who had purchased it on Itch. So pretty neat. That non-exclusivity thing is really cool and already working out in owners' favor.
That is really nice. I was wondering if you were going to have to buy into the catalog version of Bloom to get the new content. That's really neat that they push that over to you for buying it in Itch too.
Mm-hmm. For a joke that's worth 99 cents, you do have to buy the new version to get the new jokes, and there's new content there. But it's $1. But
when they all finish the initial joke, and then
on Bloom you don't have to, so that's nice. But some people were unclear, like would it update their Itch version if they already owned it, etc. It's not. They don't cross pollinate. Itch and catalog, they're two separate things. So if you own it on one, that doesn't mean you own it on the other.
Any different storefront has to be updated manually through side loading. Outside of catalog. Catalog's the only thing that'll auto update.
Yes. And The Botanist is finally out, which we love the demo, so I have not tried this one yet. But
this is the full version?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Our interactive comic.
Yeah. Very exciting.
So definitely want to play that. I should mention, we will be reviewing Real Steel and Recommendation Dog at some point soon. And they will be slotted into our season 1 rankings. So we will be doing that in the upcoming episodes. Recommendation Dog is pretty short, but Real Steel feels more like a gamey type season 1 game. But they're both by Sweet Baby Inc., and we will find a place to stick them in there and get them reviewed. Somebody asked us in the Discord, I think. And Playmaker's one. It looks like Mario Paint. That's one that I really want to try. Anyway, all the games on here look really good. So if you don't already own them, if I didn't already own them, I want to buy all of them. But I was trying to not buy all of them. I did, however, do the math.
Yeah,
I did the math on how much all of the new games cost, or how much all of the games total cost. Are you interested?
Yeah,
I want to know.
All right, just buying the new games that were not previously released would cost $76.
Okay.
And if you include the $27 in previously purchased games, that's $103 if you buy the entire catalog. If you divide it by the 16 games, that's $6.43 per game.
Okay.
So
two of those are free, Ryan. I see you trying to do the math.
No, so I was actually trying to think about the Playdate itself, because we purchased that for $179 and we got 24 games with it. So that's a steal. And speaking of the Playdate price, let's talk about that for a little bit, because that was another part of the catalog announcement that came down the pipeline here. The Playdate is increasing its price from $179, which it has been since its announcement, to $199. So it's only a $20 price increase. But if you're on the fence about purchasing this at $199 versus $179, well, you still have until April 7th 2023 to get your Playdate at the $179 price. So basically, from the time of announcement, Panic gave everybody 1 month to get their Playdate orders in and lock in that $179 price, because just like everything else in our topsy-turvy world, prices are going up at an exponential rate. I'm actually surprised they were able to keep it at just under $200. So Panic, nice work, and thank you.
Yep. So get it in now. Yeah. And that's 26 games in that season. So that's $688 a game.
This is a very nice device with a lot of cool software, and it's really shocking to me that they've been able to keep the price down as low as they have. Even at $200, I think it's I don't know how they're making much, if any, money off of this at all. Because I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this that is pretty expensive, and the assembly on it must be very expensive.
Well, thankfully for Panic, they've sold a couple of these things, so they've got to have a little bit of what do they call that? My brain is not working right
cash
now. Numbers that help things,
positive numbers,
that when you make more of a thing, then you can make more of a thing, because there's more of it anyway. Save me for myself.
Anyway, the point I was trying to make was that it's impressive to me that they've managed to keep this price down so long, and that they're still managing to keep it down below what I would imagine that this device would sell for. So, pretty cool.
Very cool. So hop on it if you're on the fence. And is that all we got on the update? I think we've talked about it quite a bit. You'll be hearing more about these games soon as we play them and review them, and more games are coming. More games like Art 8, the sequel to Art 7. Brand new content, brand new secrets to find. So I don't think there's a hard and fast date on it. I don't have it right here. Is it Art and?
I was going to say, is it Art 8 or is it Art ampersand? Art and.
Well, if you watch the trailer, it's an 8, and then he puts two dots next to it.
Yeah, it comes in ampersand.
There's a fancy typographical alteration I was very pleased with. It was fun to see.
Yeah, well, we should clarify with Ledbetter.
I think Nick's right, though. I think it's Art and.
It's a secret embedded within the announcement.
Nice.
Very excited.
Whatever it is, it's coming to catalog soon. Yeah. So that's great. Group 3 has shipped out all the way. And, the other thing I wanted to mention, Playdate.store also officially launched. This is not related to Panic at all.
Yeah, this is a third-party storefront?
It's a third-party storefront, yes.
Okay.
So I purchased Cranner from this store many, many, many months ago. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of other games there. So well worth a look. Games and apps. So
I'll have to look at what the difference in terms is between this and itch and so forth. We were talking in the Discord briefly, just to continue dev talk here for a minute, about the disadvantage of itch, and one of the issues with it is that there's not a dedicated Playdate space. There's a Playdate tag, but it's not great at catching everything. So it can be difficult. Discoverability is very difficult. So catalog is obviously like a huge exposure difference between that and itch. And Playdate.store might be similar, just on a third party side like itch. So I have to check that out again. It's been a long time.
Saves you having to try and navigate the itch things. That's a great point.
Yeah. So am I mistaken, or does Playdate.store have 11 total games right now? Am I seeing that right?
Let me look. It's possible it's around there. I think it was about 5 last time I looked. Yeah, it looks like 11 right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, but it is another storefront where you can feature your game, and like Nick was saying, you don't have to dig around. Yep. And I have used it. That's where I got Cranner, so very easy to use. purchase and then sideload. So anyway, it officially launched. They got new artwork and stuff, so it's looking really slick now. Okay, Ryan, you had a quick news note before we get into indie inventory.
Yes, hoobity boop. Guess what I got, guys? I got my Spike 2, The Great Emu War limited edition box. It arrived in my hands today, just in time for the episode, and I wanted to send a nice job out to Jan, who put this together. It's got not only the very nice box, here it is, guys. This doesn't do anything for our audience, but you can see it looks just like a game box, and it comes with a pin. I'm not going to hold these up because audio. Several stickers. One of them is a sticker sheet that includes like nice little pixelated icons. And then I think the winner of all this is this little Chick Track instructional manual that includes a comic
Salvation
inside. It is quite literally. I'll bet it is awfully close to Chick Track size. But it starts out with a comic. Do you want me to do a dramatic reading of the comic for you?
No. We'll save that for people who purchase.
Okay, here it comes anyway. No, I'm just kidding. And then after the comic, there's some instructions and goes over the game, and then some credits at the end. But what a lovely little package that was put together here. Jan only made 50 of these, sold out of them. I just got mine after, I think I announced last episode that he'd sold out, and then all of a sudden it's in my hand from another country. Like, he's moving fast on these things. So if you don't have your box yet, I'm assuming it'll be in your hands awfully soon. So anyway, I wanted to make that mention because pre-orders happen and sometimes they don't get fulfilled, but boy howdy was this filled with a quickness and exactly like he said it would. So nice work to Goloso Games on that.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm jealous. That looks great.
Looks awesome.
Envious, not jealous. Envious. There we go.
Is there a big distinction there?
I don't know, but it's more correct, right?
One sounds cooler.
Jealous and envious. Yeah. I thought it was sort of synonyms there.
And covetous. Coveting.
Yeah.
That one sounds, you're trending more evil now. So
I put a pox on your bloodline. Yes.
There we go. Yeah. Hey, I don't know if you've heard, but there's another segment coming up.
Indie inventory. Don.
We're doing a call to arms. These games we are going to inventory and indie-ness. Let's review them. Yeah, let's get back on the train. Let's get back on the stick. Review some games. It really helps devs of these great titles that we bring up every week. It helps them raise their profile. And like we've mentioned already on this episode and most episodes, itch search optimization, not very good. So they need all the clicks they can get. You don't have to leave a review, but if you can just click the stars, even that helps. If you want to leave a review, that's great. But
a little interjection here.
Yes, Nick, correct me.
No, not a correction. Just an addition. Making games is very, very difficult and time consuming, and it is a big creative effort. And so if you enjoyed the work of an independent creator, it's important to let them know in some way. And if reviews are things that independent creators are saying will help them, I would strongly encourage anybody to make those reviews. Let them know how you feel on any storefront, but on itch especially, it's interesting because you can rate via star or with a textual review to allow others to see your opinion. You can just click the number of stars that you think the thing is, and that's totally fine too.
Or you could hand knit them a macrame plant holder if that doesn't work for you. Or there are probably several things you could do.
There are many expressions of gratitude that can be, given to independent devs. Just a reminder, it is a huge undertaking to make anything, especially as an independent entity. So if indie devs are saying this is something they want, then try to listen, and that'll encourage more independent development.
All right, guys, guess what? We're over half an hour into the show, and we are only on our second segment. So, Don,
right,
do you want to take it away?
I'm enjoying listening to Nick, but fine. First up, go review Core Fault by Squid God Dev and Dave Makes. It's a joint effort. This is a bullet heaven game. You move a little thing around, you try and kill things without getting killed. It is excellent. The sound design is fantastic. This is a must-buy game. $6. Next up, Ryan, what is this next game?
What is this next? Oh, ho, ho, ho. We've come to a new release from SN Studios. This is called The Lushes Land. This is a follow-up to Tochi and Tochi 2 Senshi. It is a spin-off. I have downloaded and not played, as our great friend Nick likes to say, but I am really looking forward to this game because guess what? Breaking boobity boop boop news and notes. The Lushes Land is going to be next episode's Pixel Panel Pick of the Week. So if you want to get in on that, episode 28 action, you can start playing that right now.
Yeah, looking forward to that. It looks really cute, really fun. Next up is a game called Slider X by Germanholm, I hope. This one was a little hard to wrap my head around. It's sort of like a matching game, but on 4 different boards. It's like chess 4D, but anyway, it's free to play. You try it for like a minute and you'll get it. Basically, you just don't want the blocks to build up towards the center block. So you're sliding blocks up, down, left, and right. You got to kind of see it. It's hard to describe over my voice and listening. So you got to see the images. But take a look at it. Slider X. It's free to try. Give it a shot. Last up, this one you cannot find in the store. So click the link in the show notes because for some reason it's not showing up yet. From Zanya Lasagna, it is finally out. It is called Soothsayer, the Oracle Puss Knows All, but it's coming in 3 parts. The first one is Soothsayer the Spiritum, then Soothsayer the Oracle Puss Knows All Part 1, and then Part 2. So when you download it, you get 3 different games sort of on your device. They're split into 3 sections. So it's a lot, and there's a lot of content on here. Magic 8 balls, fortune cookies, tarot card readings. There's narrative, there's RPG elements, there's a whole lot going on. There's lore. You get a whole big manual, and if you find enough codes and passwords inside the actual game to crack the code, you can unlock a lore book file that comes with the game too. It's a lot.
That's a tremendous amount of content.
I started finding pieces of the passwords, but I have not formed the whole password, so I haven't even locked the whole thing yet. I just got it last night, so I haven't played all of it yet. But it's finally here. There's a lot to it, and Zanya Lasagna, check her out on Twitter because she's always posting cool stuff, cool art, and she's doing some sort of promotion with this. Anyway, it's overwhelming. There's just so much going on here. So it's a lot to swallow.
Every time a new Zanya joint drops, it makes me so happy because I don't know if you guys remember, but when Zanya released Reach the Ocean, they were talking about how they basically learned a programming language to make that game. And so they're a very new developer. Mm-hmm. And it seems like game development has really sunk its claws deep into Zanya. I mean, look at this incredibly fleshed out, deep, immersive game that was just released. I know they've been working on it a real long time, and it's so cool to see it finally released. So congrats, Zanya. We can't wait to play this some more.
This is like the Playdate Lord of the Rings right here or something.
Very cool.
It's a lot.
All right. Well, nice work keeping the indie inventory briefed on. That means we're on to Pixel Panel. Boo, 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 boo.
Nick, you're driving the car. Yeah, that was Nick.
All right. So thanks, Ryan, for all those beeps and stuff.
All those beeps I got to edit out.
Yeah. anyway, hopefully you'll be treated to some blissful silence before this. But
I'll put them back in post. Don't worry.
if not, today's Pixel Panel game is called Post Hero, and it's by Scenic Route Software. It is $7.99 on itch.io. And everybody, it's a point and click adventure game. Very exciting. So one of my favorite genres, and on the Playdate. So very cool. When Scenic Route Software announced this was coming, I was super excited and got really interested in the creation aspect. And I mentioned some stuff about how cool it would be to have dev tools like they used. And I didn't mean to express that they were going to release those dev tools. So I need to apologize again up front here for making it sound like that was a thing that was coming. I was just excited, carried away. So anyway,
as Nick tends to get.
Yeah, the game is here, and Ryan, Don, and I have all played it and completed it. We're going to attempt to keep spoilers to a minimum here in the first few minutes of this discussion, but as this is a point-and-click adventure game, spoilers are probably going to be coming fast and frequent here. So if you're wanting to go in unspoiled, I would say maybe save the rest of this for a later date. But
let's give some quick general impressions, and then people who really want to play it unspoiled can check out.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I could give them some boops before the spoiler comes.
Okay. So essentially you are playing as a postal worker, and you have to, it's a point and click adventure game. So of course you have to complete a series of tasks. The tasks range from comedic to straightforward, I would say. None of the puzzles are particularly crazy. There are some point and click adventure games where that's kind of the deal, is that the puzzles are made to be intensely difficult, and it's like the only game that you play for months and months and months, because whatever the solution is ridiculous and you would never consider it in a million years. Anyway, this is not one of those. It's a much friendlier point and click adventure game.
Say, that sounds like an awful experience, Nick. What are you playing?
There's quite a few of them like that. So anyway, we'll talk about that off air sometime.
Yes, sorry to derail you.
So you're walking through the town, and your main goal is to deliver mail. That's it. So along the way, you have to solve different obstacles. Make your way past different things that prevent you from delivering that mail. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I did want to discuss the controls of the game, because they're a little unexpected, I guess I would say. You have two buttons to interact with the world. There's no cranking, I believe. At least I whenever I tried cranking, I don't think anything happened. I'm looking forward to the correction that is inevitably going to come after the airing of this episode. But
that's what episode 28 is for.
But yeah, pressing A, I believe, looks at a thing, and pressing B interacts with it. A does double duty in that you have to hold it down for several seconds and then release it in order to view your inventory. And then pressing the A button on an item in your inventory will use that item in that context. So
can I complicate that just a tad bit further?
Please, I would love that.
Because you press A to look, and there will be descriptions.
Yes.
However, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, I think you have to press B to get out of that description.
You
is
do.
That correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Yep.
So there's a few thoughts that I have about the controls. And we'll get into those in a little bit here. But I was curious, did you all have any issue navigating the world or using the controls or anything?
Don, you want to start?
Yeah, navigating the world, like as far as the map navigation, no. The map I actually really enjoyed. I got to where I knew where stuff was pretty well and could snap around pretty easy. The controls I also kind of struggled with. Yeah, I don't know what I would have done different. I guess I didn't really examine it in that way, but there were definitely times where it took me a while to get used to pushing B to confirm things. I feel like that's kind of what it wanted.
Yeah.
And A to...
We're all nodding.
to go backwards.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Don for the most part. I'm not sure what I would have done differently, but I think the one thing... Actually, I guess I take that back. The one thing I would have done differently about the controls is I like that there's A to look, B to interact. That makes sense to me. But then when you press A to look, I want to just continue pressing A to see the next paragraph in the description and or to continue forwarding past that description.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I pressed A again, that makes me think, okay, I'm done with that. And it's going to disappear, but then it didn't, and I felt silly. And then I had to start pressing other buttons, and inevitably it was B to get me out of that description.
Yeah, I ran into the same issue. The suggestion I would have, aside from allowing both buttons to progress any open dialogues, would be to press the Playdate menu button in order to access your inventory. So I played with the sound off for 50% of the time, and it was a real struggle to know when I was able to actually open my inventory. So I ended up just waiting for like 5 or 6 seconds each time, which felt like a lot of dead air. And it didn't need to be that long. It's only because I had my sound off and I was being extra cautious. So those are a couple suggestions I would have if there would be, any improvement in a potential future installment or something.
Nicholas Cornelius Bartholomew Baldridge, would you mind if I push back just a little on that?
Sure.
I'm thinking about that menu suggestion, and at first that sounded like a really great suggestion, but now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, don't you need that button to get to home and settings and all that? So what are you going to do, bury the inventory within that list? Like that seems a little cumbersome.
Lots of games use it.
Yeah, it's
in
not
gameplay?
It's not that uncommon. But even if it was, I think that would be an appropriate spot for it if the other buttons are taken up. Now, the other potential thing that you could do is utilize the crank sensor. If it's undocked, then open up the inventory. If it's docked, close the inventory, kind of thing. I'm not super wild about that for a number of reasons. But
just up position is your inventory is open, down position is your inventory is closed.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Again, that I'm not super crazy about that suggestion, but anyway, I mean that would be one suggestion that I have. Another thought that I had. I'm sorry that I'm front loading these critiques here, but I've been.
We can't spoil. Get to the spoiler stuff.
Yeah, I really apologize, Scenic Route Software.
What a dick.
Here's my impression of the game. I loved it. So I am going to say that up front. And I totally didn't, and I'm sorry. Because
good save, Nick. Good save.
I did not save that well. I really loved this game, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So
except the controls.
We don't have to love every part of every game we talk about too.
Well, I
love lots of games. I love Breath of the Wild, and I hate the inventory system in that.
Well, at any rate, I really enjoyed the puzzles, the narrative structure, and the humor of this game. I guess that is the more appropriate way. And the graphics, for the most part, I do have one quibble
the TLDR
with the graphics, and so the walking animation is great. So it's left to right, but it's always left to right. So if you think of a Sierra animated adventure game,
Yep.
they had frames of animation, and this hits home particularly for me because I've re-implemented the same animation structure in a pinball machine, which is way overkill for a pinball machine. But they had 8 directions worth of animation, so you have frames of animation for moving diagonally, right, left, up, down. So if you had an engine that is doing this and driving this, the Wilco engine that he mentioned, that can be utilized for more than just this game, for making graphical adventures, I might suggest making it so that more frames of animation are required for the main character sprite.
Yeah, and I don't even think it needs to be 8 directions. You could even stick with the cardinal directions,
Right.
north, south, east, west.
Yeah.
But when you're going, like Nick said, when you're going up and down, your character sprite is left or right, one of the two. Yeah, that's a good suggestion too. I noticed that as well.
I personally don't care. It didn't take away from the game for me.
It didn't take away from the gameplay, but it's one of those things that it was noticeable by its absence for me. So
Prima donnas. Yes.
Can we get to the spoiler stuff already?
Yeah,
because I feel like that's where the fun stuff
Are you
is.
done ripping this thing to shreds, Nick? Or what?
I am. I'm sorry, Scenic Route Software. So Don and Ryan, did you like this game?
Hated it.
Yes. What?
Don hated it.
You're all jerks. I loved it. Don, did you want to say how much you loved it?
No, yeah, I enjoyed it. I hate this genre of game, but I like this dev, and I'm glad that it was not a really obtuse point and click adventure game. If it was, I would have just been leaning on Nick the whole time. And it wasn't. It was like, okay, obviously a dog likes playing with the ball, that kind of thing.
Right.
It wasn't like 10 steps to get to the dog playing with the ball.
Yeah,
that would have really annoyed the hell out of me. I do not like that. And a lot of the games I grew up with were those games that Nick is talking about, and that's just how it was. Mm-hmm. And I liked those games and the humor in them, and that's what kept me playing them. But I just didn't know any better, and I wasn't in my 40s and had a limited amount of time and no patience. So it was fine at the time, but now I don't have the patience. And what I like about Post Hero is really it took like probably less than 2 hours to play through. We'll talk a little bit. I did hit a place where I was stuck, and it was kind of a stupid reason I was stuck. Nick and I ended up getting stuck at the same part, basically. But even then, once we solved that one little thing, like the ball kept rolling, I didn't get stuck again. I really like that. For someone who's not good at these games, I really appreciated that. It didn't treat me like a dummy. The humor was really good, but it wasn't gross out humor. It wasn't anything that I couldn't show with my kids, but it wasn't dumbed down either. It was still cute and funny and whatnot. The locations were fun. They weren't pandering, I don't know. It was just like a good game. I will save something for spoilers that was different. There was tonally something very alarming, but beyond that, I really enjoyed it. I gave 5 stars when I rated it on itch. So
thanks for the reminder.
Oh, and very clear, like graphically very clear.
Yeah.
It was not muddied anywhere. We're like, that's something the Playdate games suffer a lot, is like you can't tell what this is that or whatever. I don't think I ever ran into that issue. Like, I didn't see this clue here or something. There was no pixel hunting, which is something these
I was going to say lots of pixels devoted to each character, lots of personality in each one of them, which, by the way, can we just hoobity boop boop get into it with the spoilers already? Like,
Ryan is really ready here.
I am. I want to talk about this game because there's so much to love here.
Yeah, we're almost at an hour. Okay, you got 3 thumbs up, so if you haven't played it, go play it, and then come back and listen to the spoiler.
All right, spoiler time. How much did you guys love the Pizza Sisters? Like, that was so fun.
That was
exploring their like line down the middle Pizza Shack
Yeah.
and their arguments and their ways to undermine one another, and then ultimately it comes to fruition in one of the puzzles. I thought that was super brilliant. I I really loved the balance of difficulty, just difficult enough for me to like scratch my head once in a while, but then like I'd push past and like things would really start falling into place for me, and I felt good as a gamer, like, oh, I'm accomplishing things. I can see my points going up. Um
Oh yeah, we
I
didn't
also
even mention that. The point
Yeah.
system.
I also like that it's a very like King's Quest 1 level of point system,
Mhm.
where it's not too many. It's like 150, 140 something or another.
Or 45.
Thank you, Nick. And I love I love the fact that you get points for sitting on benches.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked much about the sound design in here either, but there's this like clarinet sound for when the game starts up, and also when you accomplish things, boop 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 boop, like and I don't know, I really enjoyed that made me
Yeah.
happy. It's not a sound that I hear in video games very often, and so now that's like uh, directly linked to this game for me. Now, when I hear clarinets, I'm like, oh, is that Post Hero playing in the background? So yeah, just lots to love here. I think Scenic Route Software put out the sprite sheet of the different characters, and even just looking at that sprite sheet is such a joy. I mean, just to see the variety in character design. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed this game, and I probably spent more than 2 hours. Now, I came back to it several times over the course of a couple weeks. So maybe it was sort of the context shifting that was happening with me, where I'd go and do something else and forget a little bit about where I was in the story and had to like catch myself back up a little bit. So maybe that's why it took me a little longer. But I'm just putting it out there. If it takes you longer than 2 hours, don't feel bad, because I kind of did initially,
Yeah.
but it can take you longer. And that's okay. So those are some of my initial impressions of the games. Yeah, what else did you guys enjoy or not, Nick?
So the little musical reinforcement I thought was genius, and it's very reminiscent of Sierra games. When you earn points in those games, they all have a little musical flourish, and it's very distinct, and it makes you take notice that you've done something good, hopefully. So that was exciting. All the little nods to Sierra games just made me smile so much.
Same. Yeah.
Like on the screen with the dog, there's a tree, and if you examine that tree, there's a very obvious hole in the tree. And if you've ever played a King's Quest game, all of them have a tree with a hole in them,
Yeah.
and there's some kind of super incredible reward inside the hole in the tree. So this one is like, what are you doing? This isn't King's Quest. Are you dumb? And it talks badly about you for a while, and then finally says, fine, here you go. You found a key. Good job. And then you have something
which turns out to be completely useless for the entire game,
called Useless Key, which I thought was so awesome.
And there's so many opportunities to use the key
it
too, so it keeps reminding you of how useless this thing is.
That's so great. Yeah. And unlike a lot of those early Sierra games, this reminded me most of like parser-based Sierra games, like as Ryan was saying, King's Quest 1, but really the first 4 King's Quest games. It really reminded me heavily of those. I know he mentioned he was influenced by Space Quest, and those first 3 Space Quest games. It really harkens to that kind of time period, that engine of Sierra game. But the thing that it doesn't have is continuous punishing deaths.
Yes.
So
you can die.
You can die, but you respawn immediately, and I think that is so clever and so nice.
Yes, I was very taken aback as a Sierra kid.
Yeah.
I was like, well, here I go. I need to start all over again.
Yeah.
Wait, there I am. And whoa, my points still exist.
Still exists.
And I didn't have to press save right before I died.
Maybe they're even higher than before you died. Yeah, it was incredible. That was a great touch, and I was so thrilled by that. Another thing I was thrilled by were all the references to indie games that were in this. QR codes everywhere. I will say that
nods.
That was another interface challenge for me. Each reference to an indie game, like you might examine a sandcastle and it'll bring up QR
Castle
code
Helios. Yeah.
and then a description of Castle Helios, and I thought that was so cool. And there's even a little shout out to the Helloplaydatepodcast on a pinball machine in the arcade. So go play.
Thank you, Scenic Route Software. That was very kind of you.
Yeah, that was extremely kind. And another shout out in the guide that's published with it.
Gosh, you thought that would have given him some leeway with this whole critique thing.
I really messed up and put that all up front. But hopefully he's continued to listen to now. But anyway, the interface challenge that I had with that is that they appear and disappear unless you're holding the button. I don't know if you all experienced that.
Wait, say that again? What does?
So when you inspect the thing that gives you the QR code, unless you continue to hold the button down, you can't see the QR code anymore. It disappears.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, really? I don't agree either.
No, it toggles.
I'll have to check that again because maybe I was hitting the button super fast or something.
So did you hold B as you ran around everywhere?
No.
I did not until I completed the entire game, and then I went into the credits or whatever it was, and it sort of walks you through the controls, and it said B can help you run, and I'm like, it can?
Oh,
and
what?
so I tried again. Yeah, if you hold down B as you're walking around, then you speed up.
Oh my gosh.
All that said, I personally was really pleased with the speed at which the character moved. I didn't feel like, oh, now I got to go through this whole screen again. Like it takes you through at a perfect speed, in my opinion. Not too fast where I'm feeling like, oh God, but not too slow where I'm feeling like it's going to take me forever. But it was nice that run cycle was built in. Mm-hmm. That was really cool.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Well, I was going to mention, if you're holding B down all the time, it does lead to some interface issues.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Have those been mentioned to Scenic Route Software and or patches made?
Well, he's the one who brought it up because I was like, I keep going in this door and I didn't mean to. He's like, well, you're probably holding B, and when you let go, you're entering the door.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Or pushing up or whatever. I forget exactly, but yeah. Anytime I find a bug in any Playdate game, I try to tell the devs right away.
Yeah.
Just so they can make it as the best they can. If they choose not to fix it, that's fine. But
yeah, it's really hard to remember after the fact. So
it's a small
I know
community,
that's,
so I don't mind letting them know.
That's very appreciated, I'm sure. So nice job, Don.
Yeah.
So what other thoughts did you have, Don? Ryan and I have really monopolized this conversation.
So the big thing, the ending. Can I talk about the ending real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So the useless key, I loved being useless the whole time.
Yeah.
And then the last property I opened was I don't know, it's like the big gate, basically, where you levitate over the gate.
Yeah.
So once I did that, I accidentally hit whatever the button was. Like some big text block came up, and I accidentally hit A, and the text went away. And so I messaged him. I was like, "Hey man, like I hit the button on accident. What did the text say? I can't reread it." And so he sent me. I finished the game. I finished my deliveries, and so he sent me the text, and I was like, "What is this talking about? What are you talking about?" This is what I levitated over the thing. He's like, "That's not the end of the game." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like I have 141 points. That was my last delivery." And he's like, "Well, that's not the end of the game." And he like kind of spoiled it for me. So I'm glad I didn't really read what he sent me. So I thought that was the end of the game.
No.
Because that was my last delivery. He's like, "No, you need to go clock out at work or whatever.
Right.
Yep.
So I went back to work to clock out, and then you get shot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, is this like a nod to Postal? I don't know. Like, I didn't expect gun violence to be part of it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like a jokey thing because it's a disgruntled pirate and stuff. And like, I wasn't upset about it, but I'm just always on like, I don't know, even though I play Fortnite all the time and stuff, like I didn't expect it in this game to have a postal shooting, I guess. Anyway, so the key stops the bullet. So then I was a little bummed out that the key wasn't useless, which is dumb, I guess. But I loved that the key really was worthless up until that point. I don't know. I think I would have been that much more surprised if I had just stumbled onto it. But now I was kind of expecting, something's going to happen when I go back to work. I wouldn't have known to go back though, because I got that giant pop-up box. I really thought that was like, hey, you beat the game, now go explore town, and it went away in like a split second.
Yeah, if you go talk to any of the NPCs, I think maybe they direct you back to clocking out. Like, why don't you go back to the post office? Something happened where I was told to go back there, and I chose not to do it for a second, and then did it.
I think maybe that box says that.
Maybe it does. I don't remember.
I just sort of went back on my own because, another thing that I really loved about this game is that you're supposed to deliver something to each house. And when you do, a little check mark appears.
Yeah.
So all right, this screen is completed.
Right.
So now you can move on, do the other things. I thought that was a brilliant touch.
Yeah.
So
is that true though? Sorry.
Is what true?
Is all that the check mark thing true?
Yeah, all the interactable elements are not removed from that screen once the check mark appears. Other interactive things can happen after the check mark.
You have delivered your package.
Yeah, you deliver the package.
Yeah. Okay. So once I had all my check marks up, I'm like, okay, well, now I'm done, but I can still move around. So I guess I'll go back to the beginning. I'll go back to the post office and see what's going on there. So I just sort of intuitively went back to it. I don't know. It made sense in my mind, but I know that these puzzle type games are like, you sort of got to get into the mentality of the maker, and sometimes that's hard to do. So like, whereas one person might find it intuitive to go back, another person might not. So if that's the case, then maybe if there's not, it sounds like maybe there is. I didn't go talk to people afterward, so I don't know.
I got a notice to go back.
Okay, good.
There's never a reason to go to the post office other than the beginning of the game. I guess if you want
that's not true. Yeah, there's a hint gnome that lives in the mailbox there.
I could not get that hint gnome to talk to me. Is there a way
you have to give it an item, and then it tells you a riddle.
I tried to give it every item in my inventory.
Yeah, I never actually did it. I only found out through the hint book after the fact. So
that was a little disappointing for me because I thought, this is an interesting way to deliver hints, and then I could never get it to work. I threw every object I had at him, and I had a bunch of objects at one point. So neither of you got the hint gnome to actually talk to you or give you hints?
Oh, the hint gnome works. I tried it. I tried it twice. I don't remember what I showed him. I think it was the ass patch. The A55 patch.
Right.
For a long time, I couldn't figure out what I needed to do with that. That's pretty obvious once somebody says, when somebody tells you what they needed. But it took me a while for that to open up.
Yeah.
No, it worked though, both times.
How quickly did you each get change from the payphone, or was it the arcade game?
It was just sitting there, wasn't it? The payphone.
Yeah, the payphone's right outside the Circle J.
Yeah, I interacted with the payphone pretty quickly, but I'm interested where you guys got hung up. I got hung up on the poop. I figured that I needed it and that it was for fertilizer,
Yeah.
but I could not for the life of me figure out how to pick it up. And I'm like using a napkin and like,
Wow.
but of course,
Did you
in
not
the
have
end,
the bucket?
I had it and it totally made sense once I used it. I'm like, oh, I'm such an idiot. But that's the part that hung me up. Where did you guys get hung up?
So there's a house where you had to wear an umbrella hat to get past the
Yes.
sprinklers.
Yeah.
And I left that house right after making the delivery instead of picking the flower.
Yeah, same.
So I would have gone back to it eventually, but we were all chatting and Don gave me that little spoiler. So that nice push, I should say, to go back and check that out. So I did.
I put spoiler tags around it.
You did.
Okay, so the thing with that particular house, that's where I was stuck too, is not only was it checked off, it was like at the end of the street.
Yes.
And the house in front of it was checked off. I had no reason to go down that street anymore in my head.
Yeah.
It didn't occur to me to like, well, I knew I needed a flower
to
give to her, but I had no reason to go down that street again. So I just kept walking past that street.
That's one of the Cardinal Sierra game design things. If the scene changes in some way, you need to reinvestigate. And I did not. So that's on me. But anyway, yeah, there's another scene like that later on where the garage opens up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you need to reinvestigate when that happens. So, and it's not clear necessarily just looking at the sprite work what you need to investigate there. So you do have to do a little bit of clicking there, but it is it makes sense once you get the item that you acquire there. So yeah, there were references to all kinds of point and clicks, and I really enjoyed it. So, great suggestion, Nick.
Yeah, good job, Nick. Did you guys read the manual?
I did. Yeah, after the fact. So it was really thorough and it was cool, and I was really interested in all the little shout outs at the end and everything. So it was really neat to hear how his children influenced the game's design and development. Being a person that is interested in roping my family into game design stuff, that really struck a chord with me. So I was thrilled to see that. So that was really cool.
I haven't read those pesky words yet, but I do know that this game design was conceived at Thanksgiving. This came out at the end of February. And so basically over the course of 3 months, not only was this game made, but also the engine to create similar games.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. I can't believe that a project this fleshed out could be finished that quickly. And he did the art for it too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's insane. That's insane. I don't know how that guy keeps a job and a family and makes these games so frequently. It's very impressive. And by the way, if I haven't said it already, I had an awesome time with this game. I really enjoyed it. As I mentioned before, a Sierra kid growing up, I loved the Space Quest games too. You know, I had Space Quest, King's Quest, Police Quest. I did all the quests, and this was such a lovely spiritual successor to that. So nice work.
Cool. Yeah. It was a good time. Didn't overstay its welcome. Easy for even a guy like me that doesn't generally like this type of game.
Don blew through it in a fraction of the time I think that it took Ryan and I.
Yeah.
Don really
pretty good for someone who claims they don't like point and click games.
It wasn't abstract stuff.
It was very well designed.
Hamster in the microwave stuff. Yeah.
It was good. Hamster in the microwave is optional, Don.
Well, granted. I'm just saying. I don't think I could beat Day of the Tentacle again. This one I could handle. Although, okay, so one last criticism. I wish it's got 3 save files. I wish it would like mark them or something. Like put a stamp on the one that is in progress.
Yeah.
Because like I always use file 2 so that in case my kids hop on something, they will mess up file
destroy.
1.
Yeah.
But then like there's no indicator of which file you're using.
Yeah.
And then once you beat the game, it erases it. And so,
or
really?
even let the player name the character or something.
Or number of
something.
points hovering over it to
Mhm.
tell
Yeah.
you.
some indicator.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good
Yeah.
call.
So I had 141 out of 146,
hmm
and like I wanted to go back and find the 5 I was missing, and it was back at 0.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
I was 143, and Ryan, you were 140.
4. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did it.
Always the high score champ.
Yep. So I did look in the manual to see which points that I missed, and the points that I missed were things that I couldn't have gone back and done, even if I had access to go back into the world. So
I had no idea. I must have missed a delivery since they're worth 5 points, but I don't know.
there's a
What?
variety of
Oh,
small optional tasks.
I bet I know what mine was, because mine had that glitch with delivering the Playdate. Mine was bugged. I delivered the Playdate without doing anything at the very beginning of the game.
Whoa. Okay.
I never got the Playdate. I just went over and delivered it right away.
Wow. That would
I
change
bet I didn't get
the
credit
entire
for it.
game. Yeah.
Must have missed a few benches in there too. Anyway.
No, that was 5 points. I was 5 points short.
5 points for the delivery.
Shut up, Ryan.
That's what I'm here for.
It's your last episode. All right. Anything else you want to say?
I think we're good. So thanks for this game. Had a lot of fun. Enjoyed my first time as captain here, and really trashing on the game before we got into all the good
Jesus.
stuff.
Keep bringing it up, Nick. We forgot to mention that we were given copies of this game. Jeez, we should have really said that.
So you and Ryan were. I ended up buying it because I didn't realize, but I forgot or something. But anyway,
Now we know why he's trashing the thing. Jeez.
no.
Felt all left out.
I thought it was worth the price, and I bought the extended version that had the guide and everything.
Nice. Well,
Point and clicks forever.
yes. All right.
You've been listening to the Hello Playdate podcast.
Playdatepodcast.com. Join us on Discord. See you in a few weeks.
See you next time for my last episode.
Got quite the streak going. All right. Bye.